reformation. Revival changes the affections, but reformation changes our course. To reform something means to remove its ineffective or unjust qualities. Our current understanding of manhood is in many ways ineffective and unjust. It is ineffective in that the current state of the family is confusion and disorder. It is unjust in that it is in direct violation of the Word of God. Of course, there is always the danger that these truths will cause men to retreat from their high calling. Two types of men stand at the base of Mount Everest. The first and most common type is the man who says, "That's incredible, I could never make it to the top." The second type is the man who says, "That's incredible, I can't wait to see the view from the top." Some men will look at the biblical portrait of a multi-generational family leader and say that the bar is set much too high. Those men will continue to be satisfied with doing just a little bit better than our failing culture. Others, however, will see the heights to which they have been called and the fruit that the climb will bear in their lives and in the lives of those whom they are called to lead, and will gladly take up the challenge. Chapter 1. Multi-generational vision. I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and the fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. Exodus chapter 20, verses 5 and 6. Who gives this woman? My hands were shaking as I stood at the altar, staring into the eyes of all those people. I tried to relax, but the more I thought about it, the worse it got. My hands were sweating, my mouth was dry, and I had 1,000 things running through my head. The music started. The crowd stood to their feet, and then, like something out of a movie script, the bride appeared. I thought I was going to pass out. And it wasn't even my wedding. Here I was, a young seminarian, about to perform his first real wedding ceremony. It was all I could do to get through my lines and remember the bride's and groom's names. Since then, I've thought a lot about weddings. Tell the truth, I'm not much of a fan. The whole thing has become so commercialized that the sacred covenant at the center of it all has been all but lost. However, a closer look at the wedding ceremony offers important insight. For one thing, most people, whether they are Christians or not, want to get married in the church. They also usually want to have the ceremony performed by a minister. Why? I believe this is due to the fact that we all know deep down that God is the author of marriage. We understand that marriage is sacred. However, what intrigues me most is a simple ritual that goes almost unnoticed in contemporary ceremonies: the consent of the father for the bride to marry. As I stood there that day, I asked the age-old question, who gives this woman to be married? Even in the movies, sentimental screenwriters often work the traditional response, her mother and I do, into the script. But where does this come from? What does it mean? Do we really believe that a woman needs the consent of her father in order to marry? Do we really believe a young man needs permission from the father of the bride? Or is this question, and the corresponding, "May I have your daughter's hand in marriage before the official engagement," merely a quaint, anachronistic touch that we can do without if we wish? I believe it is more than that. I believe these two steps are extremely important. I also believe that their true meaning and significance must be recovered. Young men have traditionally asked a woman's father for her hand in marriage because we have always known that fathers are responsible for protecting their daughters. Unfortunately, this question is often reserved until after the couple has been seeing each other for years and in many instances have already begun to enjoy the privileges of marriage. At that point, the question is reduced to an insulting, symbolic gesture. As for the question at the altar, I believe that too has great significance. Fathers do indeed give their daughters in marriage. Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 6. This is a symbol of protection and care for the daughter being entrusted to her husband. It is also a symbol of trust. The father is saying to his daughter, I have evaluated and appraised this man, and I trust him with the most precious thing in the world, my little girl. If this is true, and I believe it is, then fathers must do more than just send their daughters off into the world and hope they come back with a good one. We must take our responsibility seriously. We must walk with our daughters through this process of finding a